Is all about food. You are what you eat. So that's what we're going to start with. The science that I use as a wellness strategist is called Nutrigenomics when it comes to food for my clients, and the food combining that I do for programs. So we now know through great science that we can combine certain foods in order to program neuropeptides to be sent to certain parts in the body to activate or deactivate certain systems, and it's very, very exciting. So we can use Nutrigenomics, for example, for detoxification purposes. We can use it for anti-inflammatory purposes. We can use it to help growth hormone. So there's lots and lots of ways that we can use Nutrigenomics to achieve desired outcomes when it comes to wellness. Food is phenomenal. It really is. And I'm a great foodie. I love food. I really, really do. And like most of you, I was very horrified when I discovered that food could harm me. Now, equally, food can heal me, okay? And it's about knowing the foods that can harm us generically as a human race, and the foods that can harm us individually based on our own wellness status and DNA code, all right? And so it's knowing that information that really, really takes food into a whole new level. The planet is abundant, you know, and people have said to me many times, why do we need supplements, Beverly? Why can't we just do this with food? And I so wish we could, all right? But the contamination that we as a human race have brought to the planet basically means the soil, which holds the minerals, the nutrients that grows the food and goes into the food, that is now sadly contaminated, even for organic farmers. The rain, you know, that comes out of the sky and ensures nourishment and hydration go into the amazing pharmacy that is growing naturally all over the planet. That is contaminated also. And that contamination means that there are either certain nutrients not in our food that should be. For example, Malta and Gozo are boron deficient in their soil, which means boron is not appearing in the fruit and vegetables it should be appearing in. And the result for that is widespread boron deficiency, which leaves people with early onset arthritis. All right, and we see it all over the, you know, Gozo and Malta. So that's one example of why we must supplement, because unfortunately the soil that we're growing everything in just is not what it used to be. All right. The planet, however, still provides her own smorgasbord for us, and the pharmacist, you know, in the great architect of our planet, the pharmacist decided that, you know, they were going to grow certain foods at certain times in the year. So, for example, the planet provides us with orange, dark red, black, purple foods during autumn and winter, because they're abundant, absolutely abundant in antioxidants, which we need to boost our immune system during seasons that are very, very, very cold, okay? She also delivers salads, you know, salad vegetables, fruits and vegetables, and berries in summer. Amazing, because this helps UV ray filters and protects our skin. So that's a huge thing. So try and look what is seasonal, you know, when you're looking to put together your food, have a look at what's seasonal. Now with everything, if you cook it or you freeze it, you truly do kill it, right? So if you're looking for vitamins, minerals, amino acids, you know, antioxidants and essential fatty acids, if you're looking to source them predominantly from your diet, or you're looking for a nutrigenomic prescription to take away inflammation, then you really need to think about being more raw. All right, so I ensure that I have at least one raw juice or raw salad with my evening meal. So I want to make sure I've got that good balance. And rotate your menu plan by the season, you know, as well. The other thing about food is the way we put it together and how many things we combine at once. Now, think of it this way. Your pancreas has to decipher what you consumed with every meal. Now, if you've taken, a complex vegetable soup containing 10 vegetables, then that is very complicated for the pancreas to find the right enzyme, pancreatic enzyme, to digest and metabolize the specific food. So every food breaks itself down into peptides and peptide gases, and those peptides have to be digested by pancreatic digestive enzymes. So the more you have, the more taxing it is on the pancreas. So I suggest if people are suffering from digestive issues, which we can see with gas, bloating, constipation, or diarrhea, that we reduce the amount of foods we consume at once. So you'd want to be taking maybe 3 or 4 maximum. And then once you start to see improvement, you can add more and have more complicated meals, So for example, I would have steak with a arugula, so lots and lots of arugula, with olive oil, or with sliced avocado on top of my salad. That's what I would have. And that's how simple that is. So we keep it really, really simple in our food combining. The other thing is knowing it's fresh. You want it literally fresh, because many fruits and vegetables unfortunately have been sprayed with preservatives and nasty things like that. Foods that come out of a tin or come out of the freezer or a packet, these are processed foods, and you want to be really reducing your intake of them. Be mindful of preservatives, genetically modified foods also. I think, that we can also get to learn how to use foods to heal. For example, very green ripe bananas, they are the superfood for treating diarrhea. So if you take that, it will, very quickly stop your diarrhea. And there are so many foods like this, and I'm going to do another video this week identifying foods that you can use as medicine to treat symptoms. So I'm going to jump in later this week with another short video about that. So that's one to save. Little video pharmacy checklist from your garden. One of the greatest things that we have on this planet is cacao, raw cacao. It contains a great peptide in there called anandamide. Anandamide programs neuropeptides in your brain in order to reduce depression by activating endorphins. So it makes you feel euphoric. And raw cacao, we can get that in us by creating our own raw chocolate. And I'm going to do some pop-up chocolate webinars throughout 2022. So if we're looking to get rid of things like depression, low mood, then we're looking for raw cacao, and we make our own chocolate. That's another one. Ginger, as you know, contains something called gingerols. Again, what does that do? It programs the neuropeptides to block the receptors that cause nausea. So if you're feeling nauseous, then you want to be taking raw ginger. Either shave it and add boiling water, or candied, raw ginger. I always have a jar of that, or dehydrated. And again, then you can put xylitol on it, and it really very quickly stops nausea. So just 3 little ones that I use all the time. So it's about rotation, it's about eating by the season, it's about not having too many different foods involved in one meal, and it's about keeping it clean. You should have at least 2 days a week where you're not consuming any meat or fish. It's very important. And try to keep 1 day raw and another day liquid. Now the raw liquid day, I tend to do on the same day. So I'll have a lot of juices, raw soups, which I heat up. I don't heat to boiling because I want to keep the potency in there. So I tend to get my raw and liquid day on the same day. It's all about keeping it clean, keeping it fresh, keeping it potent, keeping it nutritious, and keeping it seasonal. Not overcomplicating the pancreas. all right? And this will take you a long way, a long way in optimizing. You have some great nutrigenomic recipes in the book, so please, use that. They are very carefully balanced. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon.